Frozen in the Ardennes. August 1944. The dense pine forests west of Aachen. Dawn barely touches the sky, a thin gray light filtering through branches heavy with summer rain. 18-year-old Gefreiter Günther Graue, machine gun ammunition belts crossed over his chest like a harness, crouches in a muddy foxhole beside the remnants of his squad. His fingers, numb from cold and hunger, fumble with the bolt of his Kar 98K. The last ration he remembers was a fistful of hard bread 3 days ago, black, mold-flecked, the kind that stuck in your throat like guilt. Around him, the Wehrmacht is unraveling. Whispers among the men speak of the Führer's promises turning to ash. American artillery has been falling like judgment for weeks. No mail from home in months. Letters from his mother in Berlin stopped coming after the bombing started. Now, only silence. A sudden crack of branches. American voices, sharp, confident, strangely casual, cut through the mist. Hands up, Kraut, schnell. Rifles swing up. Günther's heart slams against his ribs. He raises his hands slowly, the rifle clattering into the mud. No heroic last stand, just exhaustion, just surrender. They march him and the others, hands laced behind heads, down a rutted road toward waiting trucks. The Americans tower in their clean fatigues, chewing gum. The line moves slowly, almost reverently. Günther's boots scrape across the packed gravel of the camp compound. On either side, low wooden barracks stretch out under a sky so wide and blue it feels like a different planet. No bomb craters, no blackened tree stumps, just grass, actual green grass, and the faint smell of fresh-cut pine. Ahead, the mess hall doors stand open. Steam rolls out carrying the scent of roasted meat, coffee, and something warm and sweet that makes his mouth water before his mind can catch up. The American sergeant at the door, sleeves rolled to his elbows, hands each new arrival a metal tray and calls out in a voice that sounds more bored than cruel. "Move along, fellas. Plenty for everybody." Günther accepts the tray. It's heavy. Real stainless steel, not the thin tin he's used to. He shuffles forward. The serving line is manned by soldiers in white aprons who look like they've never seen combat. One of them, a corporal with freckles and a cigarette dangling from his lip, scoops a massive ladle of mashed potatoes onto Günther's tray without asking. Then a thick slab of roast beef, pink in the middle, juices pooling. Green beans swimming in butter. 2 dinner rolls, still warm, and a square of yellow cake topped with chocolate frosting. He stares at it. The portion is bigger than 3 days' rations on the Eastern Front. At the end of the line, another table. A civilian woman, Red Cross maybe, hands him a tall glass bottle, ice crystals already forming on the dark glass. The label reads Coca-Cola in flowing white script. She smiles. Actually smiles and says something he doesn't understand. Then she points at the bottle and mimes drinking. Günther carries everything to a long table. The other new arrivals sit in stunned silence, forks hovering. Some men are crying quietly into their plates. Others eat too fast and then vomit behind the barracks from stomachs that have forgotten how to handle real food. But Günther just sits. He unscrews the bottle cap. A soft hiss escapes. He brings it to his lips. The first sip is cold fire, sweet, sharp. Bubbles burn the back of his throat. He closes his eyes. For a moment, Günther returns to the barracks that first evening, with the half-eaten cup of vanilla still clutched in his hand like evidence. The ice cream has melted into a pale puddle, but he can't bring himself to throw it away. He sets it on the narrow bunk beside his folded blanket, careful, almost ceremonial, then sits on the edge of the mattress. It's soft, too soft. He bounces once, experimentally, and the springs sigh beneath him. Around him, the room fills slowly with other new arrivals. Men peel off soaked uniforms, hang them on pegs, stare at the clean wool blankets folded at the foot of each bed. No straw ticks, no lice, just crisp cotton sheets and the faint smell of laundry soap. Someone, a thin Obergefreiter with a scar across his left cheek, breaks the silence first. "They're mocking us," he mutters, voice low. "They feed us like kings, so we'll feel weak when we go home to nothing." A few heads nod. It's the easiest explanation, the safest. But Gunter doesn't speak. He keeps seeing the endless row of ice cream cups in the freezer, the casual way the clerk handed him change, the way the American soldiers walked past the canteen without even glancing inside, as if abundance were normal, boring, unworthy of excitement. Later that night, after lights out, he lies awake listening to the soft breathing of 50 strangers. Moonlight falls through the window in silver bars across the floor. Outside, a guard walks his post whistling something slow and cheerful, probably an American tune. He recognizes the rhythm, but not the words. He thinks about the letters he wrote home from the front. Brave words, proud words, words about the invincible Wehrmacht, about the decadent plutocrats who would collapse under their own greed. He remembers the propaganda films, Americans as fat, lazy, jazz-obsessed cowards who couldn't fight because they were too busy drinking milkshakes. Milkshakes. The word surfaces in his mind like a betrayal. He had seen the machine in the mess hall that afternoon, a gleaming chrome contraption that spun milk and ice cream into thick, creamy swirls poured over chocolate syrup. Men lined up for them after dinner as though it were nothing special, just dessert, just another Tuesday. Gunter rolls onto his side, presses his face into the pillow. It smells clean, foreign, safe. The next morning brings routine. Roll call at 700, breakfast at 7:30, the same staggering portions, scrambled eggs, bacon that actually crisps, orange juice in heavy glass pitchers, coffee, real coffee, not the ersatz chicory sludge they'd boiled on the Russian steppe. Some men still eat standing up, afraid the food will disappear if they sit. After breakfast, the camp commander, a tall, gray-haired colonel named Reynolds, addresses the new prisoners in halting but careful German. "You are guests of the United States Army," he says, hands clasped behind his back. "You will be treated according to the Geneva Convention. You will work, you will be paid, you will eat the same rations as our soldiers. No torture. No starvation. Work hard, behave, and you will go home when the war ends." The word home lands like a stone in still water. Men glance at each other. Home. Berlin. Hamburg. Villages reduced to rubble. Mothers and sisters living in cellars. Fathers who never came back from Kursk. Gunter watches the colonel's face. No cruelty there. No triumph. Just duty. The same look a schoolteacher might give children who've misbehaved but aren't beyond saving. After the speech, the prisoners are led to the camp. Plenty. That afternoon, the assignments come down. Gunter and the others are divided into work details. No whips, no forced marches, just a list on a clipboard held by a sergeant who reads names with the patience of a clerk. Gunter draws farm duty, picking apples in the orchards beyond the wire. 80 cents a day, the sergeant explains. Paid weekly. Spend it at the PX or save it. Your choice. 80 cents, more than he's seen in months. In the Reich, a soldier's pay barely covered a pack of cigarettes on the black market. Here, it's handed out like pocket change. The next day, they load into trucks. Open beds. No guards with machine guns trained inward. The drive takes them through rolling hills dotted with farms that stretch forever. No craters, no burned-out tanks rusting in the fields, just endless rows of apple trees heavy with red fruit, the air thick with the scent of ripening harvest. Gunter climbs a ladder, basket slung over his shoulder. The work is hard but honest, backbending, sweat-soaking, but there's no overseer barking orders. The American foreman, a civilian in overalls, passes out canteens of cold water mid-morning. At noon, lunch arrives in a truck. Sandwiches thick with ham and cheese, wrapped in wax paper. Apples from the orchard, crisp and juicy, and bottles of Coca-Cola sweating in a tub of ice. He twists the cap off one, hears that familiar hiss. The bubbles dance on his tongue as he watches the other prisoners. Some work slowly, testing the boundaries. No punishment comes, just the steady rhythm of baskets filling, emptying into crates. By week's end, payday, the sergeant lines them up outside the administration hut, hands each man a small envelope. Gunter opens his, crisp dollar bills and coins that clink with promise. He heads straight to the PX. This time, he doesn't hesitate. A chocolate bar, Hershey's the wrapper promises, a pack of Lucky Strike cigarettes, another Coca-Cola, and ice cream, 2 scoops this time, in a cone that crunches under his teeth. He sits on a bench outside, watching the sun dip low over the Cascades. The mountains rise like silent guardians, snow-capped even in summer, nothing like the jagged ruins of the Ardennes. Letters start arriving a few weeks in. Mail call becomes sacred. Gunter's first from home is thin, censored, but his mother's handwriting brings a sting to his eyes. She writes of bombings, shortages, the endless queues for bread. "We make do," she says. "The Führer promises victory soon." He reads it twice, then folds it away. Victory. The word tastes like ash now. In the evenings, after supper, more feasts of roast chicken, mashed potatoes swimming in gravy, pie for dessert. The men gather in the barracks. Conversations turn quiet, guarded at first, then bolder. "Did you see the kitchens?" one asks, a former sergeant from the Africa Corps. "Sugar by the sack, coffee beans ground fresh. Back home, my wife boils acorns for coffee." Nods around the room. Another man, a young private like Gunter, pulls out a magazine from the PX, Life, glossy pages filled with ads for cars, refrigerators, washing machines. They have factories for everything, not just tanks and planes, for living. Gunter listens, the pieces falling into place. The ice cream, the Coca-Cola, they're not just treats, they're symptoms. Proof of a machine so vast it churns out luxury alongside lethality. While Germany scraped for every bullet, every liter of fuel, America drowned its enemies in abundance. He thinks back to that first moment in the PX, standing frozen between the freezer and the soda case. Ice cream or Coke?